Hey everybody, welcome to Geom. This is going to be section 8.2, part 1 on special right triangles. Today we're going to be covering the 45-45 right triangle. So let's talk about why it's important that we do that. So on your screen, you see that I have a purple triangle that I've drawn, or purple square that I've drawn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half, grilled cheese style. And when I do that, I've split it up into two triangles. Now, if I split this 90-degree angle up into 45 and 45 and this other 90-degree angle up into 45 and 45, I've just created a 45-45 right triangle. And that's one of the main reasons we study it, is because it's half of a square cut diagonally. And this has a lot of useful applications, like in construction, design. 45-45 right triangles are used all over the place. So we're going to use the basis of Pythagorean theorem, and we're going to figure out how to figure out missing side lengths in a 45-45 triangle. A lot of students get confused on this section, but I think it's a very easy thing if you follow the notes. The notes, it's like a real quick bam, bam, you've got your answer. There's not going to be a whole lot of calculation on this. So if you look at your cheat sheet, there's a note if you have the leg and you're looking for the hypotenuse, and then a different set of notes for if you have the hypotenuse and you're looking for the leg. So first thing you have to do is identify what is it that you're given and what is it that you're looking for. So let's go ahead and take a look down here. Question number 1. It shows us the 45-45 right triangle, and we're given 17 as the leg. And I know it's the leg because the leg will always help make up that right angle. And the hypotenuse, the right angle, is pointing right at the hypotenuse. So we're given the leg, and we're being asked to find the hypotenuse. So if you take a look at your notes, it just says multiply by square root of 2. So if the leg is 17, that makes the hypotenuse 17 times the square root of 2. And we're not going to do any calculations. We're not going to get a decimal on it. That's just the way it is. 17 times the square root of 2, final answer. Let's do the same thing for question number 22. We're asked to find the hypotenuse, and we're given the leg. So if you have the leg, you're looking for the hypotenuse, just multiply by the square root of 2. So final answer on that one is 22 times the square root of 2. Now question 3 is a little bit different. In this case, we are given the hypotenuse, and we're asked to find the two legs. So we have to use the different part of our notes. It says, in that first thing, it says, remove the square root of 3. Well, square root of 2. There is no square root of 2 on the 8, so I move to the second part of the notes where it says, divide by 2 and then multiply by the square root of 2. So I'm going to take this 8, I'm going to divide it by 2, which gives me 4, and then multiply by the square root of 2. So 4 square root of 2 is my final answer. Question number 4. My hypotenuse is 25 square root of 2. So I have the hypotenuse. I'm looking for the leg. The notes say, just remove the square root of 2. So the leg is going to be 25. Now these problems should go pretty quickly. Like, you should be able to look at it, take a look at your notes, and then tell me what the answer is without any calculation. Let's do a few more example problems that aren't in the notes. So on this worksheet, we've got our little notes up here. We're given the leg and asked to find x and y. So the two legs, since it's half of a square, the two legs are going to be the exact same. So x is 4. And then to go from the leg to the hypotenuse, just multiply by square root of 2. So the hypotenuse is 4 square root of 2. Question number 2. One of the legs is 10. That means the other leg is 10. And that makes the hypotenuse 10 times the square root of 2. We'll do the same thing for question number 3. This leg is 2, which means this leg is 2. And then the hypotenuse is 2 times the square root of 2. Now, something I want to point out here. Notice how this example has 45 degrees in there. That's your clue that it's a 45-45 right triangle. But examples 1 and 2 didn't have that. Instead, they've got these congruent arcs in here. That's just as good as saying a 45-45 right triangle. Or these 2 dashes on the legs. That's just as good as letting you know it's a 45-45 isosceles triangle. Let's see if we can find something a little bit more difficult. Let's go ahead and do question number 4. We're given the hypotenuse, so the notes tell us just remove the square root of 2. That means x is 8 and y is 8. Tell you what, let's jump down to question number 8. So it tells us the leg is 9 square root of 3. So that means the other leg is also 9 square root of 3. But to find the hypotenuse, I have to take that leg and multiply by square root of 2. So I'll take 9 square root of 3 and multiply it by square root of 2. So then square root of 3 times the square root of 2 is just square root of 6. So my final answer for the hypotenuse is 9 square root of 6. Another one, let's do question number 11. So in this case, they give us the hypotenuse, but there's no square root of 2 on it. So I'm not going to do the first part of the notes where it says remove the square root of 2. I'm going to move to the other one. It says divide by 2 and then multiply by the square root of 2. So if I divide by 2, that gives me 8. And then multiply by the square root of 2. So 8 square root of 2. And then y will also be 8 square root of 2. If you have the notes, it really should be easy. So that's all the harder it gets. Next video, we're going to do something similar, but with a 30-60-90 triangle instead of a 45-45 triangle. So hopefully you'll find that today's assignment's pretty easy. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me. Have a good one.